Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Caris May, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Group Captain Chris Allison. We warmly welcome the family of Sergeant Peter Meehan Hough, whose story will be read shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony from around Australia. During the ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. To commence this evening's ceremony, I invite you all stand and join in singing the national anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed at the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for over more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Sergeant Peter Hough. Peter Meehan Hough was born in 1891, one of 6 children of John and Henrietta Hough of the Sydney suburb of Paddington. After attending school, Hough worked as a bedstead maker and paraded with the 33rd Infantry Regiment in the Citizens Military Forces. He married Mary Ann Burns and became the father to Thelma. In June 1917, he enlisted for service with the Australian Imperial Force. Hough fought on the Western Front as a rifleman with the 53rd Battalion, participating in the Battle of Amiens and the subsequent offensive between August and October 1918. After returning home to Australia, Hough and his family lived at Five Dock, where he worked for many years as a storeman at a nearby warehouse. Hough enlisted in the Army in the Second World War, volunteering for service in February 1942, just 12 days after the fall of Singapore. Aged 50 and suffering from poor eyesight and the effects of gas from his time on the Western Front, Hough did not meet the recruiting standards for frontline service, but his skills and experience as a storeman were of great interest to the Army. Hough was made sergeant and posted to the 5th Australian Base Ordnance Depot at Moorebank, near the Holsworthy Army Camp, where supplies required for equipping and maintaining Army units during training and combat operations were stored. As well as fulfilling a personal ambition to serve during wartime, Hough was posted near enough to return home to Five Dock and be with his wife at the end of the working day. Hough was at home with his wife on the afternoon of the 12th of March 1944 when he suffered a heart seizure and died at the age of 52. He was buried at the Sydney War Cemetery on the grounds of the Rookwood Necropolis. The following epitaph, written by his grieving family, appears on his headstone. Nobly he lived and nobly he died, ever remembered. Peter Hough's name is listed on the Roll of Honour to my left, amongst almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is tonight displayed beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Sergeant Peter Meehan Hough, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world. They shall grow not old, as we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man, lying out there at Pozières, or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes this evening's last post ceremony. We would like to thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today, and we wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.